In Miami, we're used to doing things in large groups, no? People go to the beach, people go to concerts, people go to restaurants. Here, it's nice year round. In February and March, it was beautiful outside and people were going to the parks and spending time with not just family, but with thousands of other people who came to Miami to enjoy themselves.
Coronavirus we've known about it for a long time. This family virus is the cause of the common colds. You've had it probably many times in your life. And when you've had it, you were sick for a couple of days and then got better. This new infection is a mutation. The great majority of transmission that takes place is by droplets from surfaces. It is much more likely that you will get this by touching something contaminated and then bringing that back to your face or to somebody else who's going to touch it. The hospital I work in Miami, just to give you a picture, we went from 0 ventilated COVID patients to 42 in about 2 weeks. So this is an extremely large jump in healthcare resources. For us to even step into the room, we have to take a lot of precautions. We have to put on this personal air purifier that utilizes a helmet, a full bodysuit, and a filter that allows us this degree of N95 protection. But that takes time to put on. You are a little bit clumsier when it comes to doing the normal work that you do with a critical care patient. You can't hear because you have this filter ringing in your helmet, and so does the nurse and the technician next to you. And then you have to decontaminate when you leave. And when you're doing that for every successive patient, it takes time.
We'll get through it. We'll beat this virus. But I just want people to know that for us to do this, for it to happen, I think we all have to make some sacrifices. Many times, the news talk about flattening this curve has become a cliche, but this is really the most important thing we can do. To not overwhelm the hospital's capacity to take people. It's that simple.
My name is Meylin Hechavarria. I'm a 41-year-old mother of 3, full-time pharmaceutical rep. That's my full-time job. And I've lived in Miami my whole life. The working at home wasn't bad if the kids weren't home, but having to adjust to their education and making sure their tasks are being, dealt with on a daily basis, in addition to my stuff, makes it challenging. At least the private school that they attend, they weren't prepared for an online, educational option, right? They're gonna start doing the classes in Zoom, so it's not all day, but it'll be like a refresher daily for the kids on Zoom with the teachers. They'll have a set time. But then they have packets that they have to work. So it's very non-traditional schoolwork. I mean, luckily it's the end of the semester, so it's not going to affect them, hopefully not that bad. They're little, so they don't understand really what's happening. And to kind of keep that normality, you have to kind of incorporate a normal sense of life for them as well. I feel like my work takes a second seat, like a back seat. The school comes first. For them, I have to stay on top of them, feed them breakfast, lunch, then make sure they're doing their tasks, make sure they're logging into their calls. And then I have conference calls in between. So it's just a lot of stress, like mental stress, because not physical stress. It's like mental. Well, the toilet paper shortage is kind of ironic, but I do get it. It's ironic just to see how crazy it is. You know, I've never seen a shortage of anything. Even in hurricane season, you see a shortage of water, but not of meats, not of like toiletry stuff. So it's a little scary. It's eerie. I think it's been like a reset button for all of us. I think it's kind of like the universe telling us to slow down. You know, we complain all the time that we haven't had enough time to do the things we wanted to do, and now we have it. So it's kind of like, wow, what do we do at this time? So it's ironic and kind of almost like a double-edged sword. You know, you have all this time now that you needed, but then you're afraid to have it. So you make the best of it.
So my name is Wilkin Muñoz, and I'm currently a senior studying molecular and cellular biology at the Johns Hopkins University. In early March, professors were already, having monitored the virus for a couple weeks now. We're mentioning a possible transition to remote learning. And then finally, in early March, the university sent out a statement that coming back from spring break, classes will now be done online up until April 12th. But then 2 weeks after that initial statement, it was confirmed that the rest of the spring semester was going to be done via online, all remote learning. Labs were practically canceled, and the university and the campus itself was effectively shut down for the rest of the spring semester. Well, as a senior and having gone through 4 years of university, your senior year is a culmination of all the work that you've done. And then Hopkins being, a university that takes in students from different parts of the country, and then all of a sudden being told, classes are going to be done online. The college encouraged us not to come back if we went out of state, which most of us do, in fact, live out of state. So that entailed me not being able to say goodbye to a lot of my friends, me having to go and have 1 or 2 days to effectively move out of my apartment. So in terms of being a senior, this proper send-off that I envisioned in my mind, all of a sudden was no longer possible. But, being back home, kind of being in this isolated state is very emotionally draining, having to wake up and be in the same four walls effectively all day long for who knows how long. We really don't know when we will be able to return to normalcy or to normality. Has been emotionally draining, and I thought spring break was a time that I can come reconnect with my friends back home, enjoy the life that I had before having to go to university. But effectively, it's been the opposite, and it's just been very isolated. I think culturally, Miami's a very vibrant city. The effect has been that colorful culture that exists here has kind of been dying down, and it's very gloomy all around. Economically, obviously, Miami is a big tourist place. There's less tourists. A lot of hotels have encouraged their guests to quarantine, which obviously has affected local businesses, restaurants and stuff that also thrive on tourism. And I think that's honestly the effect that we've seen here, on top of already the workforce being affected, and a lot of employees being told to go home.